Welcome to LFC Agenda. Drew here with you, looking back at Liverpool 1, Man United 2. Big problems for Arne Slot, the Reds crashing to their fourth straight defeat of the season. The champions are rocking. But in good news, we have new voices on the podcast. Those of you joining us on Spotify will notice we've got a video, number one, hooray. And number two, we've got not one, but two new voices injecting welcome, perspective, passion, and more besides into proceedings. So I'm delighted to welcome Samuj and JSS. Welcome, gents.
Greetings. Thanks for having us.
Great to have you on board. And for this first pod, bit of therapy, which is much needed, because otherwise I'd be talking to myself, going around in circles and probably crying. So thankfully I don't have to do that. Now, before we get into I wouldn't say it's a shambles, but maybe
I'm going to go shambles.
You'll go shambles?
To interrupt the intro, but I'm going with shambles. Let's call it what it is and start on that basis.
Fair enough. Well, let's
not lie to the audience, please.
All right, before we get into the details of the match and how that unfolded and the pain that it caused us, let's do some intros. So, Samuj, again, warm welcome. Can you give us a bit of background when it comes to your history as a Red supporter? How long have you supported the Reds? Give us a year, maybe. That will help. And maybe help people guess your age too. And then tell us about your favourite Liverpool player of current times. And if you want, all times.
Perfect. Brilliant. Well, thanks for having me on the pod. Really looking forward to being part of the team. My LFC journey, I think I can confidently say I've been a fanatic Liverpool fan since 1999. Because, again, without giving my age away, I can vividly recall details from the 98-99 season. Whereas the things before were a little bit, Michael Owen, he's wearing a red shirt. That must be Liverpool. So, yeah, I'd say definitively from 98-99. So I definitely count myself as a Houllier baby. That was really my formative Liverpool years. And that's what I'd say. I'll go to the players one first. I think for my generation, all time, it just is Steven Gerrard, because that's who I grew up with as a consistent world-class level player throughout, and seeing him drag us to major trophies. And obviously people talk about 2005, 2006, but even 2003 League Cup final against Manchester United, he's having amazing games there. And, all of again, that Houllier era where, that picture of him trying to shake Guardiola's hand in the UEFA Cup 2001 run, all of that kind of thing. So I think for me in the generation, Steven Gerrard really sums up what we kind of went through in the 2000s. A favourite Liverpool player at the moment, it's quite tough. I'm probably going to have to say Salah, because I think Salah's an all-timer as well. And it's given me an opportunity to finally have a genuine discussion where, I can say without having to exaggerate that, I think that Salah is amongst the greatest players in the Premier League history. And when we're having discussions, I can legitimately be like, well, actually, Salah should have got a Ballon d'Or. And as a Liverpool fan of my generation, it's not been too long where we've been in a discussion where I can confidently put my players on the table kind of things. Yeah, I'll go with Salah. But in terms of like a favourite Anfield memory, so I've been going to Anfield. My first game was in April 2004. I remember we played Blackburn. And since then, the odd games here and there. And then I went to uni up north, and it was a great opportunity. I went to uni in 2010. Roy Hodgson was the manager. I could get tickets the night before if I really wanted to. I was going to Europa League games against Hearts. I was FC Clowners, all these teams. I'm having to watch Jovanovic and all these players. So, during those years, it was very easy to get tickets. And then along comes Luis Suarez. And that was really worth, the phrase, worth the price of entry on his own, Luis Suarez. So if I had to pick one, apart from the numerous hat-tricks against Norwich, the dazzling displays, I was in the Kop when he scored that amazing technical goal against Newcastle, where it comes over his shoulder around the keeper and taps it in. I'm now awestruck, because to have that vision and skill and composure as well. Yeah, I was like, that's definitely, if I had to pick one, I'd say that Suarez moment, I'd put that right up there.
Superb. Terrific intro. And again, very warm welcome. So,
Thank you.
JSS, can you match that?
Probably not, but I'll give you my offering anyway. I'm a bit older than Samaj. I've been supporting Liverpool since the 80s, since I was a little boy, mainly because my older brother supported them. So he just told us, this is who you're supporting. And I was like, fair enough. So I didn't go to my first game until I think the mid-90s, because in the 80s and hooliganism was a thing, and like being from London, my mum and dad were not going to spend, African parents are not going to spend money if you get, it's just not going to happen, right? I didn't bother asking, I just knew what the answer was, right? So I just thought, when I'm old, I've got my own money, whatever. So I think when I turned about 15, 16, I managed to get up to Anfield, and I saw us, no, I was about 14. My first ever game was we beat Spurs 6-2. And the big news was Graham Souness, who was the manager, he never went to the match. He was scouting another player.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
I can't remember that. Are you making it up?
The last day of the season, yeah, I think in 1993, the last day of the season, we had a terrible season, last day of the season, and Graham Souness was not at the match. Guaranteed.
I don't recall that, but
yeah. Yeah. It was 93 because that was a bad season. Yes, 93.
Who's that guy on Instagram who checks everyone's receipts?
Yeah. Carell Prince. Check it. Yeah.
We'll have to get HMRC on the case.
Check it.
Because
yeah,
I'm not confident in that one, but it sounds like a good story.
It was there. Come to front and right and centre, you been capping all that shit. Yeah, so there's that. But over the years, I've been to, my thing was always try to go to games in London because there's more of them. So I think that season as well. I also went to CSKA Spurs where we drew, I think 3-3. A few years later, or maybe that's a couple of years later. I've actually been to quite a lot of Spurs games. Quite a lot of whenever we come down to see the QPR or Crystal Palace. I've had some nightmares at Crystal Palace, as you can imagine. I had a nightmare at QPR as well. Actually, I've had some good times there. But at Anfield, some of my favourite memories have been the Neil Mellor goal. I was in Coppin for that.
You were there?
I was there. I was also there.
So that was the winner against Arsenal. In injury time.
Yeah.
To end their unbeaten run, as I recall.
Indeed. Well, favourite player of all time, John Barnes. Nothing more needs to be said, really.
Yeah.
Everyone in my generation will be saying the same. In terms of right now, not based on this season, but based on what's gone on before, I've got to give it to Virgil because I think Virgil, don't get me wrong, this is not to dip downplay Steven Gerrard, Salah, whatever.
Yeah.
Virgil has changed the game in terms of his position. I have never seen a centre-back like this. And the fact that, rival fans, I speak to rival fans a lot, the honest ones, and they tell me that Lionel Messi saved them because if Messi did not win the Ballon d'Or that year, it would have been Virgil. And then this Rio, this John Terry talk, they wouldn't have it. They couldn't do it. And the fact that he was up there sitting between those two when they were on the top of form in their era and you're a centre-back, dude. And for 2 years before the injury, unbelievable. We take it for granted because he does it so regularly, but he's just amazing, an amazing player, absolutely amazing player.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Okay, very solid pick. I would agree with you on that one, personally. I think he's been pretty transformative versus any other sign I can think of. There may be more talented players, but in terms of what he's given the side as a leader, can't top Verge, I reckon. All right, so I thought we had 2 new voices, but we actually got 3. So welcome to Mike, who's stopped crying about the result, hopefully. Have you dried your tears? Are you ready to say hello to the people and tell them I asked about your favourite player of all time?
Easy.
Straight in.
Favourite player of all time has to be John Barnes.
John Barnes.
John Barnes.
And current pick?
Current pick with this team, bloody hell, man. Yeah, current pick. I'm gonna say Gravenberch actually. I'm gonna say Gravenberch. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say Gravenberch. I should probably say Mo Salah, but I don't know. Gravenberch for me, just because I was very critical of him when he first came to the club. I didn't see this player at all
Yeah.
that he's become, and he's the more the season is progressing, the more it's highlighting to me how integral he is to this machine going forward. If anything happens to this guy, bad boy, my life falls apart. So I would say Gravenberch for me on the current couple of players is my number one. Is my number one. Yeah. But if we're going off nostalgia after the last few years, then I'll probably have to say Mo Salah. But currently, right now, for me, it's Gravenberch.
Well, I love the fact that you've gone for a different player to us. So quickly, how long have you supported the Reds, and what's your favourite memory inside Anfield, please, Mike?
Yeah, as long as I can remember. So what?
Give us a year.
A year. Well, since I was born. My dad told us we got to support Liverpool.
So 1954.
45 years. 45 years. Yeah, we live in the mid 40s. I'm just trying to remember my first game because I know our dad took us, and I would have to say it was in the 80s. Just because I was so young, I can barely remember the match, but I remember the players that I watched, and it would have been the likes of Jan Molby. I don't know why, but that sticks into my head in terms of one of the players that I sort of put to the side of them anyway. But I remember Jan Molby. I remember Ian Rush. So it has to be like mid 80s. But I was so young then, and I took success for granted. I wasn't even paying attention to the game, believe it or not, when I was that young. So yeah, I would say probably my first game I feel was probably 87, 85 maybe, that far back. But then for me, I probably became more of a fan, more of an authentic fan when we became crap, funny enough. From 90, of the last time we won the championship, was it 91, 92, 98, 91?
90.
Yeah. So after that, I started going games more, and it was really, really bad. Oh, okay. Positive memory. The UEFA Cup where we beat Barcelona. Don't ask me a year. But I
2001.
2000.
Yeah, I think it was 2001. Yeah. That was my first under the lights.
McAllister penalty.
Yeah, under the lights, and the atmosphere was amazing. So yeah, so that was probably my.
And guess who was in goal for Barcelona that day? Pepe Reina.
Pepe
Yes.
Reina. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks so much. Well, guys, let's stop pissing about. Intro's done. We need to get into some therapy. We can't avoid it for any longer. Okay. Today, Man United came to Anfield, and for the first time in 9 years, almost a decade, took the points, giving them their first back-to-back Premier League wins under Ruben Amorim, which probably means he can secure his 3-year contract now, and giving us a fourth consecutive defeat in all competitions. JWS, are we in crisis?
I wouldn't say we're in a crisis, but what I would say is we definitely need to change. Not a change of manager, but we need to change, like in formation. And I would say that we're in a bad moment. We're in a very bad moment. I wouldn't go as far as say crisis, because it's not a crisis.
At what point does it become a crisis? Is it 10 games? Is it 6?
No, I think any description of crisis has always got to be contextual, I would imagine, right? So if we had a 4-point lead at the top of the league, right, and there's 6, 7 games to go, and we lose 3 in a row, that's a crisis. Right now, we're 4 points behind Arsenal, yeah, with 31 games to go. Is that really a crisis? Obviously, if it continues, then yes, we can look at a crisis. But right now, is any one of us here giving up on winning the league? Like, are we saying none of us win the league now? If we get to that stage, then yes, you can contemplate using the word crisis. But right now, and also you've got to remember, it's just about like an hour or so since final whistle. So people are feeling a bit emotional. But I'm sure when you wake up tomorrow, if we beat Brentford next week, whatever, it's not really going to be a crisis. I think it's overused and it's too flimsy to throw around crisis, I feel.
Samaj, I'm going to switch to you.
Yeah.
Because when I looked at this, okay, forget the performance, right? Because we can get into aspects of that. But when I looked at the players at the final whistle, it seemed to me, and a manager too, kind of ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
So to me, if we're not in full crisis mode, it feels like we're edging towards that, because it's one thing not to get the results. It's another thing just for so many parts of the team not to be functioning. For you, where do we start to fix this? And is it a crisis in your eyes?
Yeah, so I think the problem with a crisis is you don't realize until you're already deep into it. And I think for any defending champion and any team with the aspirations of Liverpool and the standards of Liverpool, I think by any broad definitions, 4 defeats in a row in all competitions is a crisis. Doesn't mean it's a mega crisis. Doesn't mean that it's a crisis for the manager, but it's a crisis of identity. It's a crisis of some sort of performance. Because like you said, we look like we've run out of ideas. I don't think it's a good indictment when after 63, 64 minutes, we're throwing the kitchen sink at home against an all-time poor United team. I don't think a team not in crisis is relying on Szoboszlai at right back when we've got 2 fully fit right backs. We're having to bring on Frimpong on the right wing. We're playing a flat midfield 2 of Wirtz and Jones. 4-2-4 at home against a poor United team. 65 minutes in, that's a crisis. And when you take into context all of the games, like you said, we'll come on to performance because ironically, of these last 4 games, this is probably the best we've played. And actually, we actually probably deserved a result. Gakpo hit the post 3 times and he missed a sitter. Apart from Bruno's shot that he missed, and obviously then the 2 goals, we weren't backs against the wall, whereas I was at the Palace game in the away end, and in that first half, I'm just looking at Mateta zooming from the halfway line to 1-on-1s with Alisson. I'm looking at Osimhen having 30 yards of clear open space. So I think that it was a different kind of game, but you have to put it in the context of 4 defeats in a row. You're correct. You don't lose league titles in October. Definitely not. You don't lose league titles less than a quarter of the way through. But we also know from when we won it last time, when we won it on the clock, when we won it on the slot, and we've also seen, even under Pep, you can reach Christmas and be 6 to 8 points, and then you're then struggling. Because 4 points behind at October with an Arsenal team that we have to admit, they don't look at the moment like they've got any chinks in their armor. They're not conceding. They can only get better. We still need to get to a point where we're getting results, let alone performing well. So for me, that's where I'm like, not a mega crisis, not a manager watch or anything like that. But as defending champions, losing 3 games in a row in the league, you can even put aside Galatasaray away, hostile environment, whatever you want to do. But losing 3 games in a row in the Premier League as a defending champions, it's certainly not a good look. Whether it's a crisis or not a good look.
Except that the optics aren't good. And Mike, I saw you nodding away there at the start of Samage's mini rant. But Mike, how worried are you? That's what I'm going to ask you.
I was very worried before the match. Because although I loved Slot's presser on Friday, where he, I use a term he called people out. I mean, that's how I, paraphrase it as, name checked a few players, said that, well, look, there's no excuses now. You've had your preseason program. No Liverpool player loses 3 games in a bounce. Doesn't happen. So look, over to you. Judge these players now. I think he used the word judge Isa.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Is that what he said? I actually missed that press conference.
He also said it on Sky before the game as well. He repeated it.
Now you can judge these players now. And delivering that performance there, what I would say, I know we could see the goal early, but I was worried for minute 2 or 3. Because once again, it seems to me that we can't seem to get better of a team that plays that formation. And I said it before, he's picking players out of loyalty, which I kind of get. But I think now I'll be picking players on form. And for me, if you're going to play 2 almost like number 10s, quite forward-thinking players in those positions in the holes, why are you leaving a man like Wirtz? Well, I thought he was paid to do that. McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch is a good midfield, don't get me wrong. But we knew what Man United were going to do. And for me, the starting lineup, for me, it didn't work against Chelsea. I can't see it going to work against Man United. And people can say, oh, we was unlucky with a goal. But for me, that team there, I thought the defence was a problem. And now today, I'm looking at the forward line as a problem. So he's putting out so many fires that, for me, I would say wouldn't have started if he picked the right team. And hindsight is a good thing. And like I said, I'm not sitting in the dugout. He is, and he's making big decisions. He sees he plays every day. But for me to use the word crisis, yes, I'll use the word crisis because for me, my targets are to win the league or to retain the league, I should say.
Yeah.
And I disagree. I think you can lose the league title in October. I honestly think you can. I honestly think you can. And I don't see, not to be so doom and gloom, but I look at that team today, 4-2-4. I mean, if you're going to those kind of tactics against Man United, I'm concerned. Because I don't think even Mark Gay will fix these problems. I don't think Semedo's going to fix these problems. I'm not saying these players are playing for the manager, but I don't know what he's bringing to the training pitch and why it's not translating on the pitch. Because for me, even the basic, we're not getting right. Virgil today, I know everyone can have a bad day, but for me, if Kanai is our best defender today, that for me, that's crisis time. Floyd, I'll tell you, that's me, that's crisis time. That means there's something fundamentally wrong with this team. I was expecting a drop off anyway, but in terms of the chaos, and I'll use that word precisely, tactics today was chaotic. You can't tell me that yesterday afternoon, I thought to myself, I'm going to play 4-2-4 at some point, and I'm going to be bringing on 4 forward players. And for me, I know we scored, but even if we scored, I thought Man United going to score again. There's no way. We're going to need 3 goals, I thought. With that 4-2-4, I thought we're going to need 3 goals to get a point. That was my thinking. And that's why I dropped it in the group. I said, this is madness. I think I said this is absolute madness, what I'm seeing in 62 minutes. Yeah, of course, go and grab a goal. But for me, that would have thought, Man United would have thought, you know what, we could have sit back here on the break. So, yeah, I would use the word crisis in a way that I hope that will maybe get a reaction from these players. Because for me, Slot's press on Friday, I was expecting something more from today that I saw.
He was clearly trying to get a reaction out of the players because I didn't see that.
And we played worse.
But
I mean, I'd say. I mean, I don't think that force was good. I do not. I mean, people say, okay, we hit the forward work 3 times, rah rah rah. But Man United kind of dominated us in large spells of that match. And I saw a certain man there getting the ball. They didn't know what to do. They were like, looking at where should I play it? Who's making the runs? Where the space is at? So that's why I'm thinking to myself, you know what these teams are going to do? Why can't we break them down?
JWS, Mike there, he's criticised the way that Slot set up the team. He's spoken about defence being an issue. The attack's an issue. He's spoken about the way they were set up from the start of this match. And Liverpool didn't look stable from the start of the match. From your perspective, what did he get wrong today? And where might he have done a bit better in terms of the way he set the team up?
I think, as Mike said, I think his loyalty, again, just like Mike, I can understand, but I think it's come to a point whereby you need to play the players who are in form. You saw when Ekitike came onto the pitch, you saw what Isak, we all love Isak. I'm not trying to dig him out or anything like that, but he contributed nothing today. And this isn't the first time. We've seen this movie before. Ekitike all season. Yeah, he's had some bad games, but he is on it, you know? Gakpo, to be fair, a lot of people call him to drop, but do you know what? This season, he doesn't do anything in the game other than score or create a chance. But other than that, he's all-round game. He deserved to start. Now, McAllister had done nothing all season. Again, that could be down to his injury, I'm not too sure. But the biggest problem we have is Mo Salah. Now, I don't know remember after the Chelsea game, did you see Daniel Sturridge interviewing Cucurella about pitch type? And he said that Maresca told them, look, Salah never defends. Therefore, you get the fullback always exposed on that side, on our right-hand side, right? So what happens is they just kept on putting the ball to their end, and they have joy. And it happened again today. Salah doesn't track back. Now, last season, we got away with that. But the fact is, everyone's adapted to that now. It's like, and Salah's he's not having the same output. So if you're not having the same output attacking wise, then you also need to contribute defensively. If you're not doing either, you're becoming a bit of a liability. Now, this is not to say he's washed. This is not to say he's finished. This is not to say he can't contribute. But right now, he's not doing the job we need him to do. And that's costing us.
I think the form is one thing. But how about the fact that he is adjusting to new partnerships down that right-hand side? He seems to be suffering from that lack of connection, doesn't he?
But Ekitike doesn't get that excuse. You know, Wirtz doesn't get that excuse. Yeah, okay, he's been there longer, but the bottom line is, reputation alone is not going to win us this league. It's performances, week in, week out, right? And that's what you need to do. So right now,
And
I would like to.
I mean, today he could have scored
Pardon?
2 goals. I mean,
Yeah,
talking about
and
connections, I mean, come on.
yeah.
Today he should have scored at least 1 goal.
Do you know what I mean? And so I'd understand, like, I can excuse him if you know, he was hit the post or got that far post shank. He's just not on it, and he's been there all season. He's only scored 1 goal from open play all season out of the game, Bournemouth in the first game.
Yeah.
Since then, it's just been penalties.
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute
So-
since he
so long
actually
ago.
bagged.
Exactly. That's the thing. So it doesn't show any sign of improving, you know. And I just think to myself, it's like, how must someone like Ekitike feel? He does his job and he gets dropped. He's done more this season than Salah has, you know. So this needs to stop, as far as I'm concerned. And maybe because right now, Salah doesn't have any bargaining power. Last season, we want to sign a new contract. Sign a new contract now. He's not going to get another contract. So yeah, he's going to sulk, but you know what? He can't. Even he can't complain if he gets dropped now, because he deserves to be dropped. And it's like,
I think people
other
also
who
have to
drop.
remember we're not going to have him for a significant part of the season.
Mid-December to end of Jan. Yeah.
Yeah, so
He can go now.
But do you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Drew, as far as I'm concerned, we've got to think about the next game. We can't wait till December. Yeah, we got to think about the next. We have to arrest this halt. We have to halt this slide. Sorry.
I guess the point I'm
Yeah.
making is that the manager actually is going to need to adjust with him not being in a team. So maybe, you know, form-wise, he's not warranting starting matches. But let's be honest, since he's been at Liverpool FC, no one has ever countenanced the idea of him not starting full matches. He's now got his big contract. He is essentially, you know, still our best player, even if he's not showing it at the moment. So from your...
He hasn't been this season.
He's not been a season, but we're 7 games in, aren't we?
Yeah.
But no player should be undroppable, though.
We're 7 games in, and according to 3 people on his panel, we're in a crisis. Therefore,
Although you disagree.
I disagree, but I'm just using your logic against you. You can't, on one hand, take it's only 7 games, then call it a crisis. Which is it?
I'm only here to ask the questions, Double.
It's a crisis.
All
right.
It's a crisis.
And this is just merely my answer. This is my
this
response.
is why I would like him to experiment. I mean, maybe we should go to a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it'll be
think-
interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see how Wirtz will play without Mo Salah in the team. It'll be interesting to see, because it's like because they're both, obviously, Wirtz doesn't offer anything defensively, and neither does Mo Salah. So you've got 2 players who are not really offering defensively, so we like. So obviously, for people, it's like people always have a go at someone like Konate, but Konate is always being pushed. But Konate plays better when Dominic Szoboszlai is playing at right back. That's when he plays better. Against Arsenal, he plays because he doesn't have to keep on covering, you know. But when and the thing is, are we going to talk about Trent? Are we allowed to?
No, we're not. We're not here to talk about Trent. We're not here to talk about Trent. Let's try and move forward. Not least because Samuel would get very upset and triggered. I don't know who that guy is you're talking about. But speaking of Samuel, let's talk some more specifics about the game. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, setup wasn't right. It was really sloppy, that first goal, wasn't it? You know, that right hand side, it was painful. See the way that Mbeumo was part of that melee in the middle of the pitch, where McAllister was sandwiched between him and Van Dijk. He gets up, he's on his bike.
Yeah.
Ahmad feeds him, and he's through on goal. And what about the goalkeeping as well?
Disgrace. Goalkeeper was poor. Sorry, bro.
Do you know what? For me, I'm always about what am I expecting from certain players, right? So, like when we talk about Salah and etc., what Virgil did there. So he goes up for the header. McAllister gets sandwiched, and Bremer doesn't win the header, but he still runs into the space to get the return ball from Ahmad because Virgil's not tracking back. I think the keeper is kind of caught flat-footed, which is not a great sign, but I think it all stems from the lack of tracking back from Van Dijk. If you're going up to win that header, especially someone of his size, you need to win that header and clear the lines. But if not, you're going to have to retreat really quickly, because what we also wouldn't want is Mamardashvili to have come rushing out, potentially miss the chance, and then we're down to 10 men 2 minutes in. So that's almost the lesser of two evils. So, you know, I'm not usually, I tend not to, unless it's an obvious blatant error. Sometimes if your defense have left you that open, there's only so much a keeper can do without then getting sent off. And I think that set the tone. It really set the tone for the game. You set the nerves. You let United know that actually, oh yeah, we can play with these guys. We've got an early goal. We don't need to chase. United were very happy that, do you know what? 88 minutes. All right, cool. Let's go to 5 in the back. Let's run our socks off. Let's pass small squares and let's make sure that we're not losing our men. And then Liverpool's sloppy passing. No. You make it easy for the opponent to then actually play it into their game plans. And this is becoming a bit of a trend. And it is becoming a bit of half decent teams know how to play against Liverpool. Half decent coaches know how to coach against Slot. And when both of that happens and you're giving Amorim his first back-to-back win, something's wrong. And I think that it set the tone right from the start. 90 seconds in, Van Dijk, go in, make yourself known, as we say on the Sunday League pitch, get your win the header, but then they then score because he's not tracking back. I think that, like Mike says, at that point, I'm just like, I wasn't worried coming into the game because I was foolishly like, right, Man United, Amorim's Man United, coming to Anfield, this is the perfect game to stem the tide. And 90 seconds in, that happens. Yeah, at that point.
Exactly.
What did you make of the reaction to that early goal, Mike?
I thought because it came so early, you could tell the players. Actually, it's certain aspects. I think they might have been expected it because I think the last four games we've conceded
You
first.
can see it.
So it's like
It's almost you
like
can see it.
It's almost like they were like, "This is what we do now." Like it's like we usually start at a disadvantage anyway, kind of thing. So it's almost like they're used to it, which is a worrying thing actually to it. I mean, it's hard to judge then after going 1 down so early because obviously you're chasing the game. Then you tend to look for passes that aren't there, so to speak. But for me, it always seems like we're so outnumbered in midfield that every time someone gets past our press, that's it. Is why. But for me, I go back to what I said right at the beginning. I like Kanai, I like Virgil, I like Kirkis. But for me, when they've got the ball, especially Kanai and Kirkis, they're not getting pressed by the opposition. It's almost like you can have the ball, yeah, and you try and go through the gaps there. And they're struggling to see the gaps, obviously, because they're not ball playing centre backs. So for me, it's almost like we're almost at a disadvantage because of the goal going back behind. But then we've got players with the ball in positions they're not comfortable with. Yes, we made a couple of good creations, but I think that was from Man United's errors as opposed to what I saw patterns.
I agree. It was a poor United squad that Gakpo is having 1-on-1s and he's rushing his shot.
Yeah. So I didn't see it's not like going back. Okay, no, I don't want to speak in the past, but it's all like sometimes you would see great interchange plays between 2 or 3 players led to a shot on goal. I think it was Konate's through pass to Isak was really good. I think it was Konate actually. That was fantastic. But then generally speaking, I just don't see a team with much cohesion. And I'm thinking now, after so many games, after having 2 or 3 months together, there would be that cohesion between the forward and the midfielders, and there's not really. I think today was a really good opportunity there to play your proper attacking, influential, creative midfielders there in forward position and see what happens.
But you know what? Also,
and it was a brick wall.
But also, I find that our back four, in years gone by, we had an outlet.
Yeah, we don't.
So we could get through press with a good pass, either into midfield or diag, whatever, by a player we shall not mention. Yeah. Ala Madrid.
Please do not trigger Samuj. We need him back on the
Voldemort.
But we used to have that. Now, neither of our fullbacks have got the ball playing skills to turn defense into attack on a regular basis. And that's what encourages people to come on, because let's be honest, Virgil's cool, don't get me wrong, but Konate isn't really press resistant. He's not like how Matip was, right? And they know that. So Konate against Crystal Palace, against Chelsea, he was a press trigger that you could saw whenever you got the ball, bam, they were onto it, right?
Yeah.
So if I can see that as just an armchair fan, of course the other coach can see that, and I have to think, and they know that because before he could pass it to Robbo or he could pass it to you know who, but now he can't do that. So now he's either got to go along, they end up turning over the ball.
Yeah, lots of turnovers today, lots of turnovers. And also now they're shutting their Gravenberch supply as well, if you notice.
They're saying
let's just stop it right there. So if Gravenberch's got 2 players around him, McAllister's off form, Szoboszlai
Exactly.
probably not in a position he wants to receive it. And
But Gravenberch was getting to grips with it before the injury.
Before he got injured. Yeah.
Before
he
you-
was.
But I don't have no problem with Gravenberch. But
Yeah.
for me, it's a case of like, we can't play out from the back. Our defensive line isn't really press resistant, so that's an issue as well. Our midfield, I don't really think there's not really anything wrong with our midfield. I think ultimately, like, I could be wrong here. I just think the lack of trust. Certain players don't trust each other, and you can see when they get the ball now, people are not passing to Mo Salah. Have you not noticed?
Yeah,
Like
that's a good
before,
point. We don't go down the right as much. Yeah.
Exactly. It used
Yeah.
to be you got the ball. The many
Look
times
up, yeah.
Salah's free, they're
Yeah.
not. They're going elsewhere.
Yeah,
And
you're
I'm
very
thinking,
right.
why is that? And I'm thinking, but maybe they don't trust him. And even Wirtz, when he was starting game, people weren't passing him. People didn't trust him. And I can understand that because he's new. But I'm just saying, it's just there's not that kind of like when. Again, we can talk about Henderson. We can talk about Fabinho. When they get the ball, bam, Salah, bam, Mane, bam, whoever
Yeah.
they'll find someone. We don't have that. So one thing Samuel said is to talk about how you said the crisis of identity. I do feel that I don't know if it's a crisis of identity, but we do need to find identity. This team doesn't have an identity at the moment.
Yeah.
And I just want Klopp to be brutal. Drop whoever you need to drop. I don't care.
Well, it
Just fix it.
was brutal to a degree today when he took off Salah with I think it was 3 or 4 minutes to go. But obviously, I think personally that sends a sign now. That's
Yeah.
Wasn't that a little bit out of desperation?
usually Salah the man there. It's usually like you leave him
Yeah.
on the pitch for the whole of the
Regardless,
game,
yeah.
regardless of how he's playing, because you know if it drops to him, I know it didn't happen today. He will
Well-
give you a goal. For him to be taken off and then you're throwing in a fullback, I know, okay, wing back.
Frame part, like it just doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
me,
we've not seen it
I-
before. Salah being withdrawn in a big game. Another thing we've not seen before in recent times is Man United coming to Anfield and playing with that level of assurance and cohesion.
They did it last season. They did it last season.
But having
They
a
should-
game,
they should actually won last season.
having a game plan,
Well, that was
And
whose
then-
fault.
and
Yeah.
then right, and then also executing it and then taking the points.
Yeah.
So, how much credit, Samuel, would you give Man United for their performance today? Because I felt for large periods of the game they had us at arm's length. Liverpool, they took a few jabs, hit the post. Okay, unlucky, but ultimately, I felt like everything that the manager would have told them, that Amram would have
Yeah.
told their players, played out and it worked out for them. But how much credit would you give them?
It's obviously only a touch of credit because it's Man United. I can't say the words. I can't. But your point is correct. And what I've been noticing, and that's kind of why I said the point about being out coach. Every time I watch Liverpool recently, and that's what I'm saying, any tactician manager, as long as if all 10 of your outfield players do their job, you know you're gonna have a good chance against Liverpool, right? And I noticed it at Crystal Palace, who were in good form. They're at 17 games at that point unbeaten, very good manager, very good team. From minute one, you're like, yeah, every single one of those players doing their job. Man United today, the team selection he made and the team that he laid out, yeah, I give them credit. They executed their game plan. 100% they executed their game plan. And they adapted. Because actually, sometimes when you're away from home, when you get that early goal, you might get excited a bit. But like I was saying earlier, I think that gave them the confidence. They actually, wait, if we just stick with our game plan and we've already got a goal, we're already in the bonus. Like whatever happens now, we're already in the bonus. And if we then need to change a bit later. And Bruno Fernandes ran his socks off. And, he gets a lot of stick for his personality, but he's by and far Man United's best player.
That's it.
He was on his last legs and he still got that pass for the second. He was about to come off. He was literally about to come off, came off a few minutes later. So again, Amorim, even at that point, is adapting, thinking, even at 1-1, actually, let me withdraw still a bit more, get a bit more shored up in midfield. Casemiro looked tired, so we took him off as well. So I give them credit that they executed their game plan as they worked on. And ultimately, when you're away from home, regardless of if it's a rival game, if you go away from home and you execute your game plan and you come away with a result, you absolutely run with that.
I felt like, Mike, Liverpool had more ideas in the first half, as much stick as we're giving them, right? So we had that Konate through ball. That probably should have resulted in a goal. There was a Salah pass through to Gakpo as well. I think that's when he hit the post.
Gakpo should have scored that. Gakpo should have scored that.
Gakpo
I don't hear about the post. You
He
scored that.
definitely should have scored.
scored
but
that.
then later on in the second half, there's the header that he
Oh,
misses,
man,
which was
If Nunes
unbelievable.
did that, by the way.
But
Nunes
generally,
did that.
in the second half, I thought
If we
Liverpool went very
if we
good.
can't mention Trent, don't mention Nunes. Thank you.
Fair enough.
But generally in the second half, I thought Liverpool weren't very good and they ran out of ideas.
Yeah, I think the subs he made was that disrupted us. I can see why he made them, because I suppose he's thinking, look, we need to change things quickly.
You have to.
You know, the atmosphere was a bit flat, and I think also, and we weren't looking like we're going to score anytime soon. So I get that, but for me, it's to bring the three on there like that. And I keep saying to it, this is why I'm a big Wirtz fan, as you know, from day one. And part of the reason why I don't think he's getting a fair crack of the whip is that he's been flinging on in matches where literally it's a bit chaotic. It's a bit like, well, your position usually is in this position, but for a moment, just try and do something. Try and help us out. Try and get a goal. Try and get an assist.
But to be fair, he's been playing in all different scenarios and not really delivered.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think like today, for example, and I keep saying that, to fling him on in a Manchester United Liverpool match, I don't know,
whilst chasing it,
whilst there's gap, it's high risk for me, and I think he would really be best suited to start 3 or 4 games in a row. See how he goes in his natural position. And I think today in the second half, I think it was there for the taking for Liverpool. And this is why I'm thinking I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but it's almost like when we get back into the game, and it's happened 3 or 4 occasions now, and we lose it, there must be something wrong there. The last 5-10 minutes, what are we doing wrong? I don't know if you remember the second goal they scored from. If you remember the throw-in that Soboslai had.
The throw-in,
he throws it at the goalkeeper I don't know if he's playing NFL. We know this goalkeeper's not as good as Alisson in terms of control. But that, for me, I was thinking, why are you doing that for? Results in the corner. You know what happens next. So it's almost like these basic errors that we're doing now is linked to goals. It's linked into goals every single time. So why don't we just play smart? Think, you know what? Let me take a break. Let's take a point. I know it sounds really negative. I know it's negative, and I know we should do that.
So for listeners who didn't watch the match, or for example, had a bad feeling about it and didn't follow the sequence of events, it is important to note, as you say, Liverpool did equalise on 78 minutes. At that point, there's probably another 20
minutes to go.
25 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Do you think that they were a bit too frantic in trying to pursue a winner?
I think the momentum, and if I'm I saw us scoring another goal.
At that moment.
I saw us scoring another goal. I saw us also conceding number 2. But I thought we were going to go. I thought we were going to go 2-1 and then 2-2. And it was so early, like you mentioned. It was probably about another 20 minutes to go. I get it. The crowd was up, and we were creating chances. But when I saw certain chances in myself, I thought, okay, you know what? A point actually not bad. A point is not bad. And like I said, we can criticise the defence, but when you look at the gaps that they had to deal with, especially for the second goal, when it goes over Konate's head, literally, I think it's only really Virgil and Konate in the box, really. Let's look at defenders. And it's almost like it, and that's why I said it's almost like chaos. I can get it. He wants to win. We all want to win, don't get me wrong. But in the grand scheme of things, we just can't manage games now. And that's concerning. Whereas last season, that's one thing we was really good at, managing games.
And that's why I would have taken the point. That's why at that point, I'm not saying it's shut up shop, deep block, but I would have taken the point at the moment in time.
But maybe change it from I don't know, it was 4-2-4, maybe go 4-3-3, just for 5 minutes, get a second wind, maybe organise it a bit more, because we're going gun-ho, but like you mentioned, we've got 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes, you can concede and score 2 goals. So maybe we've got to 1-1, maybe just ask one of the midfielders, and again, this is where I'm saying we got a lot of attack-minded midfielders in there, to say, okay, you know what, just hang back for a bit and let's see how it pans out. But
bring back Endo, yeah?
I think just for 5-10 minutes, because it was so. I mean, it was great that we scored, but do you remember that period when he brought on those subs? I think Gary Neville really nailed it on. It's wild. It's gone wild now. Literally, you said the word.
Yeah,
it's gone wild now.
Yeah, it's gone wild. Yeah,
and I get it a bit. Okay, like cup final or it's a knockout, but literally for both teams, it was like you have the ball, we have the ball. It was just. I remember one attack we had 4 forwards. I think 5 forwards in their penalty box. I get it, but I think for 5 minutes, I'll just say, look, and Slot was good this last season. He was the one that kind of brought heavy metal back down a notch. So I don't know what's happened to him now. Maybe the pressure's getting to him. I don't know. But for me, there was no game.
It did work for him a few times this season.
Yeah, start of the season, first month and a bit. Yeah.
So when
we were getting out of jail. We was giving up 2-goal leads to Bournemouth at home.
I was going to say there is an asterisk because we were going 2-0 up in every single game.
But what I'm trying to say is that you can't you have to temper the criticism with the fact that it has worked before. Therefore, you can understand why he does it. It hasn't worked now. Fair enough. That's why we have to change it.
After losing 3 games, I would say put your intelligent hat on and think, you know what happened to Chelsea, what happened at Palace, let's not have it today. Because now the press after this game,
I agree.
man, this guy is
Yeah.
going to be under pressure. Trust me.
I agree. We got Frankfurt on Wednesday.
Got to win that now.
Away as well.
Have
Yeah.
to win that. Have to.
And then Brentford away.
Have to win
Brentford's
those
away
games.
as well. So
Have to win
another
those
tough
games.
week. Another tough week, just like before the international break.
So Liverpool don't get that winner they're chasing, right, after the Gakpo equaliser. And again, spoiler alert for those of you who avoided the match. Harry Maguire pops up with a header. Great play by Fernandes for that
It was
one.
a great pass, it was.
And it's 84 minutes on the clock. It's another sucker punch late on in the game for the third consecutive match, right? Double S, going to ask you this. Do you think right now Liverpool should be a bit more humble in the way they approach matches?
Explain what you mean by humble.
Yeah.
So right now, and I think the point was made earlier that, I think you made the point that actually early on in the season, got away with chasing winners, pressing for winners. There wasn't really that feeling that, we couldn't take the points. Right now, the mood is very different. So is it incumbent on the manager to actually change his mindset, particularly towards the end of these matches? Because I had a really bad feeling going to those final few minutes.
Yes and no. I agree with you. The manager has been a bit cavalier. Some people call it bravery, but it can be a bit cavalier. I hear what you're saying. I take that point. What I'd also say is that players need to do their jobs as well.
Yeah.
Because these are basic errors. What Szoboszlai did, manager's not telling him to do that. Manager's not telling you, oh, don't pick up your man. Manager's not telling you to give the ball away. The fact is, if players are making individual errors, and because once you see one player makes another player do it spreads. If you're a centre back, you're looking at left back, he's having a stinker. You're going, okay, do you know what? Let me not pass to him. And then before you know it, you're running into traffic. You've lost the ball anyway. So it becomes the chaos. I think ultimately any defence needs to trust each other. We talk about chemistry. Chemistry is it's all about trust. Trusting your partner or whatever to do the job. I'm talking about football now, nothing else. But
I was about to say,
Yeah, player.
so yeah.
generally in life, get the job done, partner.
So I'm thinking to myself, it's like the humility, as you put it, that's part of it, but that's not the only reason. Ultimately, don't know why, but people are not doing their job. I'm talking the basic. I'm not expecting worldies top bins every match,
No.
but just do your job.
Do your job. Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Forwards today, for me, we lost the game because of the forwards. Simple as
Yeah,
that. It's the forwards.
There's a lot of
The
opportunities.
forwards have lost
So
us the
many.
game today, and I'm a big Isaac fan. You got to score that. Have to score that. Gakpo, probably our best player, but also for me, those two chances, he should have scored that.
Wasn't Isak
The
offside
Isak
anyway?
one was offside anyway. Yeah, it was offside anyway.
So
Yes.
no,
No, it was offside. They
wouldn't-
flagged it. It
wouldn't
was
have-
flagged as well.
You're
Yeah.
right. You should have buried
Bury
it.
it anyway.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give
I
him
think
that.
I think the point still stands. I'm glad you mentioned Isak there, right? Because we've mentioned so many individuals in this team. Isak is our record signing. All of us were gassed when he came through the door.
Yeah.
We hoped and believed, depending which side of the fence you're on, that he'd be transformative. How many Premier League goals he got? I think a big fat 0. We
Zero
understand,
still,
we
isn't it?
realise, we appreciate he came in late. And there was a period of him having his pre-season, if you like. How worried are we about him at the moment?
I'm not worried.
Not at all.
I'm not worried.
No,
I'm not worried.
It's if I'm being honest, if I'm worried about anybody, it's Kirkers, and I'm beginning to be a bit worried about Wirtz. They're the only. But I'm not really worried about Wirtz anyway. But if on a scale, we talk about the new signings. Frimpong, I don't know what.
Brah.
No, wait. I'm not letting you get away with it. You need to be very specific, because I know Mike in particular, having had conversations with him on the WhatsApp groups, has
Okay,
been very critical of Frimpong. This is a fundamental role that this guy has
The
to play.
reason I'm
And
saying
no one
that-
there's
really
not enough to go
understands.
by. Yeah,
No one
there's not enough to go by.
But hang on. He's come into a position to replace a world-class footballer that was there. I'm not going to
Who?
mention his name.
Who?
Don't get
I don't
triggered.
know who's replacing.
It wasn't like for like though. I think that's not fair on Frimpong.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. But those fullback positions are becoming a huge issue, no?
That's true.
Yes.
Anyone can take this one.
Yeah.
But-
Please
okay.
talk to me about these fullbacks.
Okay, I'll talk to you about Frimpong. Frimpong is what he is. Yeah, you can't. He's a known quantity. Yeah, we all knew beforehand he's not going to be a world class right back. We just thought he's more like a wing back, and in my mind, is Salah's understudy. That's how I looked at it. Yeah, and I think that the theory was in most games outside of the big six, he can do a job at right back. Do you know what I mean? Because most of the league we can handle. You know,
But he
maybe
came
I was a
in
bit
for
gassed.
he came in for a big fee, and he's currently
No,
Not really.
in this day, 30 million is not a big fee
That's
for
not
a
really a
good
big
club.
fee.
It's not a
Okay.
big fee.
Okay. He came
Relegation teams spend that.
in fine. I'm sure you'll find other teams who've spent 30, 40 million pounds on fullbacks and they expect them
No,
to start.
30 isn't 40. 30 is 30. See how I tried to slide the 40 in?
Yeah.
I see
30
you.
is not
So-
40. 30 is But go on.
Right now,
Yeah.
Who are you starting, Samuj? Is it
My
the young'un
goodness.
or is it Frimpong? Because
This is one of
I expected him to slot straight in there. What's happened?
Well, I think the point is correct that he was signed as a wing back, and actually even Slot was actually saying he's also a bit of an understudy for Salah. I think Slot wanted to start the season with Bradley. Bradley was injured, fine. And this is where my whole Szoboszlai right back thing is crazy in October. In August, when both are not 100% fit, okay, we cannot be having Szoboszlai at right back in October. So we need to pin down and say, right, Bradley, here are the things that you need to fix up on because you're the starting right back. I don't see Frimpong as the automatic starting right back because I agree of the whole right wing back thing. And actually, I genuinely think that he is the understudy for Salah as well. So like in December, we're going to see Frimpong playing right wing and we're going to see Bradley playing right back.
You think he's coming as a Mo Salah backup dancer? That's what you're saying.
I think that was probably more of Slot's immediate idea whilst he gets used to the Premier League because he's played in a back five at Bayer Leverkusen and that wing, it's a totally different position and we were never going to switch to play a back five. So he's going to always be caught between the lines. So that's going to take a bit of time to adapt. And just very quickly, I just want to go back to the Isak. Well, when we talk about all the signings, the only reason I'm not concerned about Isak is because he's Premier League ready. You know, when you see strikers, especially strikers that come in that have done great in other leagues, and they come in the Premier League and they can't adapt. So the Isak thing is, it's not that he can't adapt to the Premier League. It was a fitness thing. Slot maybe dug him under by saying on Friday and to Sky before the game, he's now fit. He may not be fully fit. So I'm not worried because the second he starts scoring, he's not going to stop. We just need to get him to start scoring. So I think, when we look at all the signings, for me, once the player's in, you take away the price tag because it's not my money. The player's in, take away the price tag. Does he fit in the team? So when we're talking about Wirtz, if it was a £40 million signing, we'd still be discussing, does he fit into the team? So with a lot of these signings, the one I'm worried about is Wirtz because we can't seem to fit him in because again, coming from that Bayer Leverkusen setup where he played a slightly different role, we don't have that here. And in order for him to do that, then you're not playing Gakpo at left wing. And Gakpo actually has been producing by hook or by crook. So we are really stuck in a bit of, that's why I said a crisis identity, because I just think we don't know what Slot wants the team to look like.
Right. Okay, guys, we're going to have a quick round table, right? Going to wrap up in a bit. We're going to have a quick round table. I really want short answers with a little bit of rationale behind your answer. We're in October. I personally don't like to look at a league table and start to cry about, unless we're way off the pace, cry about what may or may not happen at this point in time. At the same time, even if we were 6-7 points ahead, I'm not popping champagne bottles. Simple question for each of you. Let's start with Mike. Not can they, because we know they can, but do you see Liverpool winning the league this season?
No.
Why not?
And I said this at the beginning of the season, actually. Although I was excited with this transfer and business of that, I just felt that a lot's happened. We all know what happened.
Yeah.
And obviously with the integration of so many new players, I just thought this is basically the post-Klopp transition. However, I was not expecting this kind of a drop-off. Although we're in October. But no. Champions League, possibly, but Premier League, no.
JWS.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. I think we're going to have a much better second half of the season. Yeah, because I think by that time, I would like to think Slot would have kind of figured things out and the players have got, up to speed and so on and so forth. And usually, and also, so I think the second half of the season, if you have a good second half of the season, as long as you get through in the Champions League, you'll be all right. I think we can do, if we do champs, and I think we'll probably finish third this season. That's just
Wow.
based on, obviously, but I do reserve the right to change my mind as the evidence goes. But if I'm being honest with you, judging from what I've seen so far, even when we're on 5 games in a row, none of them are convincing. We have not had a convincing 90 minutes all season. How can I sit there honestly and tell you I'm going to win the league?
On the Community Shield, the cracks are.
Do you see what I'm saying?
So
Yeah.
presumably, when you're saying third, you're thinking City and Arsenal
Yeah.
finish ahead of Liverpool this season.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't think that's a crazy shout, is it?
Samuj, are we going to win the league this season?
I've seen more from Liverpool than City. Like, yes, they have the only difference is Haaland scoring twice every game. That's the only difference. We City have probably had worse results than us. But bearing that in mind, quarter of the way through the season,
Can you visualize it?
I'm trying. You can see, I'm trying to visualize it. I'm going to say yes, just on the basis of this has to be the worst point of our season.
I think there's worse to
This
come.
is fair enough, but if this is
Come
the worst
on now,
point,
Mike.
yeah,
No, I
if
think there's
this is
worse
the
to
worst,
come. I think there's worse to come.
If-
you look at I wasn't thinking that before.
Wait. Let Samuj land. Let him land.
if this is the worst point of our season, then yes, we can and probably should win the league, simply because Arsenal haven't had their worst point of the season and they're not. Yeah, they've already lost the game, so it's not as if they're not invincible. They're not that level. They're doing what they should be doing, but they've not had their rocky bit of the season. So we can win the league if we stop this now. We cannot lose. I don't think you can win the Premier League losing 6 games, right? And we've already lost 3 in the first quarter. So we, at absolute most, we cannot afford to lose 2 more games this season. And we go to the Emirates and we've not played City yet. So yeah, we need to arrest this now, put a stop to it, and really get back to playing how we did this time last year post Forest. We went 9, 10, 11 games without losing. Get back into that rhythm, and then I think we'll be fine. And I genuinely think we can win the league.
You're talking like Conte 16, 17 after getting battered at the Emirates.
Oh yeah.
Then they come and just do it.
Yeah. And that's it. You need that wake up of we've lost the worst Man United team. Yeah. Like the players should be embarrassed. Let's go and not lose for the next 12 games.
I'm going to answer my own question. I'm going to answer my own question. And for me, I can visualize it. I don't think it's likely, but I can see it happening for the fact that when you look at the depth of talent we've got in the squad, the manager and his capabilities, and the fact that we've got players who've been there and done it, I see a period in the season coming, put it this way, where Arsenal will dip, and I don't think City are going to hit the heights of anything close to what we've seen previously. That being said, I think one thing you mentioned there, the number of games you can lose, right? For me, it's number of drop points. So draws and defeats.
Even draws in, yeah.
If you get past 8 or 9 in the season, you're unlikely to do it. So we've already used.
But we're not even drawing games, mate.
Already used 3 out of 9 lives. So to your point, it does have to change now. I'm not sure it will, but I can visualize it. But only a little bit. All right. So just before we leave, we've got Eintracht Frankfurt coming up midweek on Wednesday. My view is with the Champions League games, you know, for this group stage, you've got 8 matches. Not to be too casual about it, but you can probably get away with dropping points in half of those.
Like PSG did last year. Yeah,
like PSG did. And this is an away fixture. So I don't worry about that. It doesn't keep me up at night. And I feel even if they get a draw or even have another defeat, there's enough there for them to squeeze through into the top 24, I think it is, out of 36 odd teams. But that next match now against Brentford becomes huge.
Yes.
Next week.
It's on,
if you're making...
It's on Sky, isn't it? It's on Sky. It's on Sky.
Yes, Saturday Night Football.
It is.
Yeah.
There you go.
They'll love that.
They'll love that.
JWS, if you're making one change to try and get Liverpool back on the straight and narrow, what are you doing if you're Arne Slot?
Before I answer that question, I just want to say one thing. The Frankfurt game is huge. Yes, I understand that you can lose if you can PSG, but look at what PSG had to do to win. Just look at they had Liverpool, and we don't want that 2-leg playoff. We don't want none of that stuff. We need to be beating at Frankfurt. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't want to have to go into the realm just leading a win. Anyway, but to answer your question, what thing do we need to do? The one thing we have to do is, I think, be more defensive in midfield and actually rest Salah, because Salah's not going to do the work. I think he needs to be seething. We're playing against Frankfurt, do that stuff. In Champions League, you can kind of get away with that. On Saturday, I don't think he should be starting. He should coming off the bench at 70 minutes, angry, pissed off, with a point to prove. That's what I think. And start Ekatike, definitely.
Going back to his former club, he will have a point to prove.
Indeed.
He'll be motivated. Okay, Samij.
Yeah,
on to
you took my thunder. I was going to say Ekatike has to start. First and foremost, almost regardless of it being Frankfurt, he's actually the player that's been in form of our attackers. And then you add in him going back. Yeah, you got to start Ekatike. But McAllister, I'm worried. I'm getting to the point where I'm getting worried with McAllister, where I'm like, does he need a full shutdown? And we tried that in April. Tried to shut him down for the last 3 games. So he had a month and a half off before the international break. I think there was a slight June international break. He's come into it a bit slower again this season. There's something that's not quite right. Shut him down. Play some behind the scenes game. Put him in the under-23 so he can just play 90 minutes, play 2 or 3 90 minutes before he starts again for Liverpool. So I think, yeah, Ekatike has to start. So whether that's Salah coming off or Isak not starting, fine. But McAllister cannot start on Wednesday.
Well, I'm talking, I told you, my concern is next Saturday. So what are we going to do to rest this next Saturday?
The reason why, sorry, this was actually the other thing I was going to say. You're talking about Frankfurt and Brentford in isolation, but because we've lost 4 games, we can no longer look at these games in isolation, unfortunately. Yes, a defeat against Frankfurt is not a definite to our Champions League chances, but losing 5 games in a row,
It's crisis.
unfathomable. Unfathomable.
A crisis.
So we can't look at it in isolation, because if we go to Brentford on a Saturday night on a Sky game, having lost 5 games in a row in all competitions, that's the only talking point. You're adding on the pressure. Brentford score early. We're having this conversation in a week's time, and we're all saying, okay, how much of a crisis is it? So yeah, I can't look at the games in.
So let's say,
isolation.
let's say, because I thought you'd been a bit politician-y about this answer. let's say Liverpool do the business on Wednesday, right? They get the 3 points.
Yeah.
But we still know that tactically there has to be a change. We've all accepted that. For the weekend. So what are you doing?
Yeah. So my McAllister point is he needs to play 2 or 3 90 minutes behind closed doors. So that's a week and a half at least. So my change is McAllister.
So you're bringing in Jones?
I'm starting Jones because you don't want Gravenberch having to also hopefully he's actually, it was a precautionary being taken off. We've not heard anything otherwise. You don't want Gravenberch having to do 2 jobs for one, and actually just start Curtis Jones so that we have someone that is 100% fit. Like availability is your best ability. Like he's fit and he can do a job. Start him.
Played well today. He played well today, Jones. He came on.
Yeah. Came on, did the job.
Mike, you may or may not take Wednesday and Saturday in isolation. What change are you making to make sure we get back to business in the Premier League?
Yes. Don't concede first. That's it. If I'm slot on Saturday afternoon or evening in that change room, getting the players ready, forget players, substitution, tactics. Don't concede first. That's it. And to have team have that conversation, playing a team like Brentford is bad enough. But that'll be whatever team he plays, and he's probably going to play the same again. Don't concede first. That's the number one thing I'll change, because that's what has to change in this team.
It's been therapeutic. I'm not leaving this podcast less worried or anxious than I was at the start of it, but hopefully listeners will take some solace.
You haven't told us what your favourite Anfield memory is.
Oh, my favourite Anfield memory?
Great shout,
okay.
yeah.
Well, you're taking it back to the beginning. Okay, so I was there for the 4-4 against Arsenal. Yes,
Oh
Arshavin. I
yeah,
saw
that was
him wave the
Valentine's Day,
4
wasn't it?
fingers in front of me.
That
Yeah,
Valentine's
yeah,
Day.
yeah.
No.
My favourite moment was Liverpool's equaliser. At that point, I'd accepted because it was so nip and tuck, but it just had the edge over us, and we had to keep winning, right? And so when that fourth Arshavin goal went in, it was like a dagger to the heart. But I remember leaving the stadium, and as I walked down the stairs, big roar went up. It was a Ben Ayoun equaliser. So there's that moment walking down the stairs. I wasn't even watching the game. That would be my huge Anfield memory. Where I was like, okay, yeah, I was pretty happy with that. But it wasn't enough, alas.
Oh, well.
So, guys, I really appreciate you joining us for this first video
Brilliant.
pod. I hope you'll all be back. I hope it was therapeutic for you.
Definitely.
It was good to get an exchange of views and perspectives. And it's a long road, as down as we're feeling after this third defeat in a row and losing to Man United at home and Slabhead getting that winner. We know going to work or whatever you got to do during the week, Monday is going to be, it's not going to be easy, right?
No.
But the good thing is the games come around thick and fast. So we've got 2 coming up, Wednesday and Saturday next week, and hopefully a bit less pain come our way. So thank you all for listening. Guys, thanks so much for joining. Enjoy your week as much as you can. And steer clear of Man United fans is what I'd suggest.
Indeed.
Have a good
All
one,
right.
gents.
Take it easy,
Take
brother.
care.
Have a good one. Laters.
Bye.